Now there are 8 in supply.
Okay, and previously I think there were 11.
No, ma'am, 10.
10. Okay, 2 have been deleted. And what about the beehive?
Ma'am, उठा रहा हूँ.
Ma'am, two chapters and I think three poems I deleted.
Okay, fine. And I think all the things that are deleted are like after the half yearly portion, isn't it? The later chapters.
No, ma'am. Ma'am,
Which
one
one?
chapter and one poem before half yearly.
Okay, which one? Can you name them?
Ma'am, the poem after the truly beautiful mind
Okay.
and the snake and the mirror chapter.
Okay, chapter Snake and the Mirror. Okay. Okay, fine. This is of Beehive, isn't it? One poem and one text. And from that, two chapters from supplementary have been deleted, isn't it, Pushkar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay, fine. So, if time
Ma'am,
per
after half yearly, two poems and one chapter.
they have also been deleted.
Yes, ma'am. After half yearly.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, then I think total 3 poems are deleted.
Yes, ma'am. Three poems and two chapters.
Two
Yes,
or
ma'am.
three?
Ma'am, two chapters, three poems.
Okay, 2 chapters. Fine. Okay, and two from supplementary, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then if time permits, we will do those chapters also. I don't know how long it's going to take in the online. And online, you see that chapters are getting completed quickly in this. Though we will not study those chapters for the exams, which have been deleted, but it's no harm in just reading the stories. And I think grammar, written part, letter writing has been deleted now. Only diary entry, story
And you
outline.
can say clauses,
Yes, Namini?
clauses
Your audio is not clear, better. Namini.
and clauses and propositions are also deleted.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. But
That
even if
and
it's
the for
deleted, mostly you will get integrated grammar sort of thing, isn't it? Like last year also during annual we had done that. So I'll
and
start
passive
finding.
voice.
Yes, passive voice is there.
And it's deleted.
It's deleted. Okay. I think reported speech is there. Fine. Rumisha, remind me around 3:10. I have to take the attendance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, better. So before we begin the second chapter of supplementary, I would like you to have a small recap of the previous chapter, The Lost Child. We'll see a sweet video about it and we'll then move towards the second chapter.
Friends, today I'm going to take up Chapter 1, The Lost Child from your textbook Moments. It is written by a very famous Indian writer, Mulk Raj Anand. Let me give you a brief introduction about the writer. He was an Indian writer who wrote many famous English stories, novels, and Indo-Anglo fiction. His stories always reflected the lives of poor people in traditional Indian society. And some famous books written by Mulk Raj Anand are Untouchable, Coolie, Two Leaves and a Bud. Let's begin the story now. The Lost Child. The whole story revolves around a little boy who goes to a fair with his parents and he gets lost there. I'm going to explain this chapter in 3 parts. Part 1, Child goes to a spring fair with his parents. Now let's begin part 1. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. Scene 1 starts wherein it is shown that it is a festival of spring, it is a bright spring day, and there is a fair going on for which people are coming from the narrow lanes and streets. Alleys means streets, and gaily means cheerfully, means they are so cheerful and excited to go to a fair. Some are walking, some are riding the horses, and some are sitting in the bullock carts. Among them, there is a little boy who is so excited, and brimming means overflowing, means he is overjoyed, he is full of excitement, and he is so happy to go to a fair with his parents. So we can say that everyone in and around the village is traveling to partake of the delights of the fair. Partake means to attend any event for enjoyment. And this young boy is skipping and running happily alongside his parents. There are many other people who are also traveling to a fair along with them. The boy's excitement grows as he sees all the people around him. He is fascinated by the shops, rides, and many more things. And when he finds a toy shop, he gets so excited that he proclaims that he wants a toy, just like any other child of his age. This is quite natural for any child. This is the natural urge of children. When they get attracted to any particular thing, they demand for it. But his father looks at him unpleasantly or harshly. Now, to divert the child's attention, his mother draws his attention towards a mustard field so that he may not ask for the toys. There is a vast golden mustard field. The boy's attention is diverted because of its golden yellow color, which fascinates that little boy. The field is filled with butterflies, and the boy gets fascinated to see the beautiful and colorful butterflies. There is a group of dragonflies with purple wings, and as the butterflies and dragonflies fly close to him, he tries to catch some of them, but they elude him. Elude means avoid, or they escape from him. They feel tired and take shelter under a tree. Suddenly, a shower of freshly bloomed flowers fall upon the child, and he holds out his hand, forgetting his parents, and runs to catch the petals. Now he hears the cooing sound of dove. The boy looks around in wonder, taking in all the sight and sound of nature. That means the child goes crazy in that excitement and beauty of nature. Now the boy and his parents are again set on their path to the fair. They are moving back to the fair. Now, as they come near to the place of fair, the child gets overwhelmed with the view because there are so many shops, and he is happy but confused because it is entirely a different and new world for that boy. The boy stops in front of a sweet shop because he is tempted by the delightful display of sweets. There is a line mentioned, an architecture of many colored sweets. That means you must have seen at sweet shops, the shopkeepers usually display different varieties of sweets in the form of designs, different designs. The boy slowly murmurs, I want that burfi. He wants to have burfi, but he knows that his request would not fetch his parents' attention. So he moves on without asking for any sweet. As they walk on, he is attracted by the beautiful garlands of gulmohar in the next shop. Gulmohar is a kind of flower. He again very hesitantly murmurs, I want that garland. But he knows that his parents will surely refuse him. So without waiting for their reply, he moves on. Now, brightly colored balloons on a pole greet him next. He stops and gazes at the bright, beautiful balloons floating in the air. Balloons of different colors like green, purple, and all the silken colors attract this little boy. But again, he knows the reply of his parents that they would say, "You are too old to play with such toys," and then he walks on. Next, he finds a snake charmer playing his flute, and his snake coils itself in a basket, and he raises its head slowly. The child wants to hear the music, but he knows his parents will forbid him. Forbid means will not allow him. Finally, he reaches the giant wheel, and his eyes shine at the giant wheel, keeping on turning with its brightly colored lights and people laughing and shouting. Now he cannot contain himself. He slowly says, "I want to go on the roundabout." And as soon as he turns around to look at his parents for the permission, he finds that they are not with him any longer. This is the end of part 1. Let's move on to part 2. Part 2 deals with the child gets lost in the fair. Now the child gets frightened and he starts screaming and howling. He runs here and there in search of his parents. The child realizes that he is lost. He is separated from his parents. And then he starts crying in fear. He becomes so panic stricken that he keeps on sobbing and he keeps searching for his parents. He is running here and there, searching for his parents in such a huge crowd where men and women are talking and laughing, and there are tears in his eyes, and his clothes have also become dirty now. Now he runs quickly to a shrine. Shrine means a holy place. He finds a temple, but that is very congested with people. He hopes to find his parents there, but he cannot see them. He has to struggle a lot. This poor little boy has to struggle to make his way between the feet of the people, but every time he is knocked to and fro by the movement of the people. He keeps screaming, "Father, mother." But in such a huge crowd, it was really not possible for a little boy to find his parents. This is the end of part 2. Let's move on to part 3. Last part deals with when a man meets this child, a stranger meets this child in the fair. Now, a kind hearted man rescues this poor little boy from the stampede of people and lifts him up in his arms. The stranger asks the boy about his parents, but the boy cannot tell him anything about his parents. He only repeats, "I want my father, I want my mother." Now, in order to make the little child feel relaxed, this stranger, this kind hearted man, takes him to the roundabout and asks whether he wants a ride. But the child does not want any ride now. He keeps sobbing and saying, "I want my father, I want my mother." Now the man takes him to the snake charmer, asking him if he wants to hear the music. But now the child doesn't want to hear the music. He closes his ears, crying for his parents. Now, just to quieten the child and distract his attention, the man takes him near the balloons. But the child shakes his head at the pretty balloons because he doesn't want any balloon now. He keeps saying the same thing, "I want my father, I want my mother." Children, look at the change in the behavior of this child. He doesn't want anything now. He doesn't want to go for a ride. He doesn't want to have balloons. He doesn't want to enjoy the music of the snake charmer. Why? Because he was lost. He was separated from his parents and now he doesn't like anything. That means the child wants his parents only. To make the child happy, now the man takes him to the flower shop and asks if he wants to put a garland around his neck. But the child refuses. He doesn't want anything now. Finally, the man takes the child to the counter of a sweet shop with the hope that he would wish to have sweets. But again, the child continues to cry for his parents. and keeps saying, I want my father, I want my mother. Here the story ends with a doubt in the mind of the readers that whether this lost child found his parents or not. But we can assume that this kind man or the stranger must have tried to locate his parents and this child must have found his parents finally.
So here we see this, and this was the recap of your chapter. I have to take the attendance.
Ma'am,
Oh, yes, attendance. Okay. So we'll start with the second chapter. Yes, the adventures of Toto. Yes. Who wants to read? Archie, are you there?
Ma'am, this is of class 7th or 8th.
ma'am,
It is not of our class.
this chapter is in our book.
It is of ninth, beta. It's not of ninth?
It is of our class only.
Okay, okay. Yes. Archie, can you start reading?
Yes, ma'am. The Adventure of Toto. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding throat, and the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried eh, but his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sum of many years. Yet his fingers were
In
quick
the
and
sun.
wicked.
One second. Had been pickled in the sun for many years. जब आप बहुत देर धूप में खड़े हो जाते हैं in the sun, what happens? Your skin starts wrinkling. That is how they've explained. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun. क्योंकि हम अचार को रखते हैं sun में, so they have compared that for many years. So how it will become in that was the type of hands he had. Okay, continue with it.
Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tall, while adding to his good looks. Grandfather believed a tall would add to anyone's good looks. Also served as third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable for scooping up and delicating that might be out of reach of his hands. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new birds or animals.
One
So
second,
it was
Archie,
decided.
Archie, this word is delicacy. 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 किसी
Yes,
अच्छी
ma'am.
खाने की चीज़ को कहते हैं. Okay, continue it.
And any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. Grandfather always fussed when grandmother brought home some new birds or animal. So it was decided that Toto's present should be kept a secret from her until she was in particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closest opening into my bedroom wall. where he was tied securely, or so we thought,
Well,
to
one
peg.
second better. A few hours later, when grandfather, okay, you're telling this word securely. Secure होता है अच्छे से बंधा हुआ. Security, securely. Continue.
Securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. A few hours later, when the grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental papers chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered that grandmother
One second. Hmm.
would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. "He's clever," said grandfather. "Given time, I am sure he could have tied the torn pages of your blazers into a rope and made his escape from the window. His presence in the house still a secret." Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters where a number of grandfather's pets lived very soberly together: a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his com- companions to sleep
Companions,
at night.
companions, companions होता है
Com-
साथी. Companion.
companions to sleep at night. So, grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided
Sahar-
to take him along.
Saharanpur.
Saharanpur decided to take him along. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air. An exhibition that attracted a curious crowd on lookers on the Dehradun railway platform.
Okay,
Toto remained in the back
thank you
as
so
far
much.
as
Archie, thank you. You read quite well. Crowd of onlookers. This is a single word. Now this is a compound word. Onlookers. Okay.
yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Thank you, Vita. Thank you, Archie. I want
Welcome,
the
ma'am.
boys to continue from here. Toto remained from here. Who would like to read?
Ma'am, shall I?
Yes, Vita.
Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to put that a monkey did not qualify as a dog, or even as a quadruped. Toto was classified as a dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over by his as his fare. Then grandfather, just to get his own bag, took from his pocket our pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this, since you charged for all animals?" A ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his finger with his forefinger, gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look and said, "No charge. It's it is not a dog."
Yes, it's not a dog. Hmm.
When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had for a companion the family donkey, Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. To his surprise, he found Nana, without apparent cause, pulling at her hattler and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. The grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. He had fastened onto her long ears with his sharp little teeth. Toto and Nana never became friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was the large bowl of warm water given by grandmother for his bath. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, then gradually step into the bath, first one foot, then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands or feet and rub himself all over. When the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feelings would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. One day Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in he got in with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time until grandmother arrived and hauled him, half boiled, out of the kettle. If there's a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with the rice. My grandmother screamed, and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arms. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. Obviously, Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well-to-do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees.
Okay. Thank you, Harish. So I don't think there's much to explain in this chapter. It's just a fun story of a monkey whose name was Toto. And see, the first line says grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for a sum of 5 rupees. So he had loss, I think, more of loss than um, anything else. As he, in the end, it's written that he sold back in 3 rupees. He sold, he found the Tongawala, the same Tongawala, and then he sold the monkey to him for 3 rupees, and 2 rupees was a loss. At that time, it did make a lot of money. Any word which you would like to know? There was one word over here which Harish had told. We'll do one thing. Today we'll see in Tata Edge if anything is there. And that small videos are there. There was one word called quadruped. If you had read this, I think it was here somewhere. Where's that word, Harish? Yeah, this one. If you read this, in vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that the monkey did not qualify as a dog or even a quadruped. This means a animal having 4 feet. Okay, and because dogs are having 4 feet, even monkeys have 4 feet. And there's this word called turnstile. Where's that word? Yeah, this one. This means a mechanical gate consisting of revolving. You have this in railway station, जो गोल गोल होते हैं. There are 4 parts of it, and you keep revolving, and people come and go. It's in the rotation form, and we have it in, I think, our station also,
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Any other word? There are not many difficult words over here in this chapter. It's an easy chapter.
Haunches.
What bitter?
Haunches.
It's not audible. Please speak loudly, bitter.
Haunches.
Which paragraph? Damini, your
Ma'am, I
audio
don't.
system is not good actually.
Ma'am, it's computer network.
Why? Do one thing. You write in the chat box. Which word are you telling? I'm looking at the chat box. Why don't you just write it over there? Abode. There was one word called abode. Abode means, in Hindi, if you say it is nivas, residence. जहाँ आप रहते हो. Okay, haunches. Okay, haunches means the seat and thigh of an animal taken together. Wait, I'll just take out the chapter again. We'll see. I think it's towards the end, no? This word. Where did you read it? Somewhere here? Haunches. Can anyone see that word over here?
It was on the previous page.
Previous page. This one. Yeah, over here. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. Look, there's a companion. Nana is a donkey actually. He had fastened onto her long ears with his sharp little teeth. So haunches means जहाँ पर वो बैठता है, the seat or the thigh of the animal. It was sitting over there. We'll do one thing. We have 5 minutes, so we will do one thing. I'll just share the Tata Edge. This chapter is not there. I can't see it. The Lost Child is there. The Adventures of Toto.
Ruskin Bond is considered as one of the greatest Indian authors of the English language. Born in Kasauli, India, he moved to Dehradun after his parents died when he was 8. He was raised by his grandparents. His most loved experiences, his father's had an impact on his life and themes of his writings. After completing his schooling at Shimla, Bond went to England for further education. It was there that he completed and published his first novel, The Room on the Roof, which won him the John Llewellyn Rhys Memorial Prize 1957. His diverse literary style includes short stories, novels, essays, poems, travelogues, and articles in newspapers and magazines. Ruskin Bond has been honored by a number of awards, including the Sahitya Akademi Award 1992, Padma Shri 1991, and Padma Bhushan 2014. His most renowned works include Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra, Time Stops at Shamli, The Night Train at Deoli, The Adventures of Rusty, The Blue Umbrella, and A Flight of Pigeons. The Adventures of Toto is a humorous story depicting the antics of a naughty monkey named Toto and how it ultimately tested the patience of the narrator's otherwise indulgent grandfather. The story narrates the adventures that followed after the narrator's grandfather, who was an animal lover, bought Toto, a monkey. The story begins with grandfather buying Toto from a Tonga driver for 5 rupees. Toto was pretty and looked so out of place that grandfather decided to add him to his private zoo. He was, however, afraid of grandmother, who did not like him bringing home as many pets as he liked. So the narrator and grandfather brought Toto home and decided to keep him a secret from grandmother. Toto was extremely mischievous. The narrator, at one point in the story, writes that if there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. Toto, on his first day, ripped open the peg to which he was tied, shredded the narrator's blazer, and tore up the wallpaper that grandfather had chosen for the walls. Toto was then transferred to the servants' quarters where he lived with the other pets. Usually, most of grandfather's pets got along well with each other. However, Toto kept all of them awake at night. To prevent further such issues, grandfather decided to take Toto with him to Dehradun. However, the journey was not the one grandfather was expecting. He and Toto made it through most of the trip without any incident. But at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and scared the ticket collector. The ticket collector thought Toto was a dog and charged poor grandfather 3 rupees extra. Grandmother finally accepted Toto and gave him a comfortable home at the stable. His companion was their donkey, Nana. However, when grandfather came to the stable to make sure that Toto was comfortable, he saw poor Nana struggling because Toto had jumped on her head and bitten her ears. Toto loved the warm baths that grandmother prepared for him. It was a treat for him. He would expertly check the temperature of the water and then enter the bath 1 foot at a time. Then he would soak and soap himself. Once he almost boiled himself because he did not realize that the kettle was still on the fire. He was saved by grandmother, who pulled him out of the kettle just in time. One day, grandmother had made pulao. When everyone entered the dining room, they saw Toto sitting on the table, stuffing himself with rice. He threw a plate at grandmother, who had screamed at him. He also threw a glass of water at one of the narrator's aunts. Then Toto jumped out the window with the dish of pulao. He climbed all the way up the jackfruit tree and ate all the rice while everyone watched. Finally, to take revenge on grandmother who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down the tree and laughed when it broke into pieces. This incident made everyone, especially grandfather, realize that they could not keep Toto for long. He was becoming very expensive for them to keep because he kept destroying things. They could not keep replacing them all the time. So grandfather took Toto back to the Tonga driver, but he could only sell him back for 3 rupees.
So this was the Tata Ajwan, a nice, sweet, and small one. So it's almost time now. What we'll do next time, we will discuss the question answers of this chapter. Okay. So bye for now. Sairam, everyone.
Saira ma'am.
Sairam. Take care.
Sarah, ma'am.
Saira ma'am.
Bye.
Ma'am.
Yes, better.
Ma'am, as I